So, Pastor, I read in the article that you did not want to be a pastor at first. So, what kind of pushed you over the edge to consider being a pastor?
Yeah, I sure didn't want to be a pastor, man. I want to be a comedian. I was serious too. I even negotiated with God. I said, all right, I'll do clean comedy because all my comedy was Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy, Sam Kinison. It was that kind of Robin Harris, Baby Kids kind of stuff, right? So I said, I'll do Bill Cosby, Jello pudding, non-cursing, whatever. Just don't make me do that. But so first of all, it wasn't what pushed me; it was who. I know God pushed me into pastoring, but what He used was He says, "I want to use you." He gave me this. Is what He gave me. He gave me a burden to reach unchurched black men. He says, I want you to start the kind of church where black men who normally feel alienated from the church, who walk into a church and don't feel understood or don't feel like they understand what's being said, you're going to have a church where black men will come in and be comfortable and challenged. Like, we don't just keep them comfortable, like, man, just be whatever, like, we challenge. So that got me. Like, because my mindset of being a pastor was I was going to be wearing a robe and a collar and we'd have candles, and it just seemed so like restricted. It seemed very religious, but I think that was the main thing. And it's been that, like, I get to reach unchurched black men. That's my heart. You know, I'm cool with ladies who come, but if nothing but dudes came on Sunday, I'd be so happy. Because I would really, we really had to, watch what we say with the ladies there. But like, I just love that, you know.
Nice. Yeah. So when did you decide, okay, I'm a pastor, and now it's time to do design and make my own church?
Yeah. So I was a youth pastor at several churches. I was on staff at several churches. But again, I was working at churches that I couldn't invite my friends to. Like, it would work for me because I was in it. Like, I knew the songs and everything. But I was like, I can't bring Junebug and Skeeter and ST and Sputnik and all them in here, man. Like, they'd be lost in here. So I said, I wonder if I can start something that would be for them. That's what kind of drove it, right? And I wanted to be church, but not so churchy. Right. So, like, that's why we dim the lights and we kind of make it more like a production so that people can feel comfortable in there. And then, one of the things you asked me earlier, why people are attracted to it, I think, and this might be going ahead, but if it's okay, I'll do it right here. One of the things that we set up, what I started doing, Neal, I started asking people in the barbershop why they didn't go to church. Because any information you need in the black community is in the barbershop, right? So dudes like, man, y'all be in our pockets too much, right? So I made a notation of that. So if you ever come to our church, one of the things we say, it's time to give, but if you're a guest, don't feel obligated to give. You don't have to give. This meal is on us. We used to say that all the time. And people's like, they ain't coming around with it 3 times? Yeah. And they ain't begging, stand up over here, $100, right? So he's like, that'll disarm people. Okay, they ain't trying to get in my pocket. They told me to hold my money. Then we try to make it fast. Like, because a lot of people would be in church too long. Like, when we got in here at 11 o'clock, man, the game over, we leave, right? So I ain't coming back till Easter. I'm gonna do this twice a year. So we had a service when we first started with 60 minutes. Because I was new. I was like, we gotta do this in 60 minutes. I told people, we go 65 minutes, we'll fill your tank up with gas, right? I was like making promises like that. But if it went 64, they were still so, man, we keep it. We don't need that gas money. It's cool, right? So we try to be fast, respect people's time. Then the casual dress at every level. I'm dressed casual. The leaders dress casual. What it does is it relaxes the environment so that I don't have as much Sunday preparation. Because when you got to suit up and bow the tie up and match the shoes, that's a lot of work, man. But when you can come with any, like what I'm saying, you just come like this, like that's, okay, I ain't got my outfit, I'll suit out the cleaners or whatever. Same for ladies. And then I think the other thing that we did intentionally that made me excited about starting the church was we was going to make sure that every message we preached, it was going to be practical. It was going to be something you can use in your life. Not, we don't be talking about revelations and the bowls and the horses and the dragon with the fire coming out their mouth. If we talked about it, we'd have to say, how does this relate to your life? We had to bridge it. If you can't bridge it to my life, don't talk about it. That was a necessity. It had to be practical. And people leave saying, man, I can understand where you're going. That's because of the bridge. We took you out of the Bible, which was written thousands of years ago, and put it on your street. That's why you understood it. Some people talk about the Bible like it was, and people had to make the connection themselves, or they had to be excited about Bible stories. But if you bridge it for me, then I say, oh, So those are the things that we intentionally did to try to attract particularly unchurched people, unchurched men. And that made me excited about it. I didn't know if it would work though. It was rolling the dice.
It definitely worked.
Yeah, but we had no idea because, you don't know. When you roll out something, you're hoping, but you don't know, man. Somebody, man, this is whack. It is whack. And most of the stuff people that said it was whack was churchy people. We had people say, this ain't church, man. This ain't church. This irreverent. He up there with a warm-up on, serving communion. It was a little hurtful, because you want I don't know about other people. I want everybody to like me. I want everybody to like what I'm doing. I don't like any bad press. But what I would do is I would consider the source. We would get these feedback cards, and it would be, and so they said, man, this is what they're saying. I said, well, what are their age? 57. What's their church? They come from Divine Miracle Holiness Church. I said, yeah. Well, that makes sense. That's not our target. But what did the 32-year-old man that's unchurched say? He's like, I'll be back. Bang, that's it. But the tricky part is, y'all ain't ready for this. The tricky part is she already know how to tithe. She can help us finance this. We got to tell him to hold his money. So it was tough for a while, right? But then you get their confidence. You can teach them, man. You supposed to invest in this work, right? So that kind of balanced it. Knowing who the criticism came from, and if that's not my target, like if somebody criticizes the huddle, if it ain't who you're going after, you can understand why I understand why you wouldn't like this. This ain't your cup of tea, right? But who we're after, they're saying, and if they start complaining, nah, man, do this, I'll take that into consideration. Right. But if somebody's saying y'all need to put robes on, collars, white gloves for the communion, and play the organ, put an organ in there or whatever, then who said that? But there are some young people who are very religious too. They think that our church is not sacred enough, and that's okay, because our goal is to be a bridge.
And I was just about to ask you, what is your mission today? So now that you have your success and your church is moving, is that still the same mission? It's
still the same. Because that's why we're trying to open up new places, trying to go to new territory, and take the same concept. So our first goal is we want to introduce people to God who don't know Him. We want them to experience Him. Then we want people to get connected in groups, like, get connected with people. It's kind of a big church, so get to know people here so you're connected, right? You're not just a loner. And then we try to equip them, like, let us show you how to grow in your faith and find out what your gifts are. Because you don't just have talents that you can use in your professional life, you have gifts you can use in your spiritual life, and helping them identify those gifts, and then empowering them to serve God, like in some kind of way. I think that's still our goal. That's our goal today.
Mm-hmm. So a question for you, why do you think there's so many churches being stood up? Every corner, you see a church, you might see a liquor store, you might see Popeyes, but then you don't see the benefit of a lot of people being saved.
I don't have any statistics on that, so I don't know if those churches are not reaching people. I don't know, but I do know this: if the church is not sensitive to the culture that it's trying to reach, then it is literally, it's almost like a private country club. Like, no matter how it looks, I don't feel safe going in there. Like, I don't feel like I'm welcome because it's not for me. I think sometimes, like, why not find out? Like one of the things we're doing right now with our newest location, we are canvassing the community, finding out what they need there. Like we one of the things we may do from day one, we don't know at what point, we may have solar panel, might be the biggest solar panel in the entire state of Maryland, to provide solar for other places. Some people have solar panels on their facility that empowers the facility, but we're contemplating providing solar power outside. We won't benefit from it. It'll be a provision for the community. Finding out what the population of the community is and what they need around there, like trying to be a contributor, not just showing up like here, like, but are you consuming or are you contributing? Like, what does the customer base want? Like, what are they looking for? So we got the building now. How are we going to use it to serve that area? Like, that's very important, because otherwise people will ride right past it. But we want it to be a place where we feed people, where we provide stuff for people, where we give people things in need. Like, how can we help? What are the needs? What the gaps? Maybe some of them things you're talking about. Maybe that'll change the way what we decide to do with the other 40,000 square feet that we haven't built out. Maybe we need to be that community center where they play midnight basketball or something. I don't know. We got to know what that community needs. Because there's no need in putting it in Greenbelt when they really need it in Palmer Park, right? So we got the right thing in the wrong place. You got to know where you're going.
Politicians ever come and ask for your advice?
Has a politician asked about? Actually, it was strange. Yeah, people, but it's always been people in D.C. when I started thinking about the last two I met with. And more than my advice, they ask for my support. So most of the politicians that I hear from say, I'd love to come and worship at your church and tell your people about my agenda. And the reason why I do it and let them is because I want to publicly say in front of our church, well, this is what we want from you. And can you, what can you do about that? Because they want to come in and they want our vote.
Right.
But are the things that are important to us important to you? So they don't ask as much as for my opinion and my counsel as much as they ask for my support.
Gotcha. So with you having a younger congregation, how do you handle keeping out of the media? Because we talked about that earlier, social media. You love to play cards, you're outgoing.
Mm-hmm.
How do you keep your image clean with social media today?
That's a great question, man. One of the ways my social media is clean is that there's several people who have access to my platforms and my phone. Like my phone could be anywhere. Like there are times where I can go hours and I don't know where it is. And somebody's posting somebody's responding to people. There are people on my team. So I can't have nothing dirty on here. Like there's too many people that got access to it, which is good for me. That's accountability. That's like, that's the main thing about social media. Like I'm on there sometimes interacting, joking around or whatever. I might even post something, but most of the stuff is being managed by other people.